keep it.
Good, we got about 10 minutes.
May I have your attention, please? We still have a few people eating. Please proceed, and we're going to go ahead and get started because we have quite to accomplish and to cover this morning. Good morning. My name is Scott Gardner. I'm the district manager for Duke Power Company in the Triangle area, and I also have the good fortune of serving as chairman of the Chapel Hill Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of the board of directors of the Chapel Hill Hillsborough Chamber, I would like to extend a hearty welcome to each of you. This is a great crowd here today, and we're pleased that all of you could join us. This year's edition of the State of the Economy Breakfast takes on a bit of a different twist because it's a joint endeavor. The Chapel Hill Hillsborough Chamber, the Hillsborough and Orange County Chamber, and the Orange County Economic Development Commission work together to put this event together for you folks. Before we move through, I'd like to extend a special welcome and to recognize a few special guests, and we'd like to ask the following to stand. I don't believe Congressman Price is able to be with us today, but if he is, would he please stand? I think there are some more important things going on in Washington today that he's probably having to deal with. From the state legislature, Senators Howard Lee and Ellie Kinnaird, are they able to be with us? Don't see them. State Representatives Joe Hackney and Verla Ensko are with us. Welcome. Due to the number of local elected bodies and elected officials, and in the interest of time, I would like to ask that members of the following please stand and that we hold our applause to all have stood up, please. The Orange County Commission, Chapel Hill Town Council, Hillsborough Board of Aldermen, Hillsborough Board of Commissioners, in the back over the side there, Orange Water and Sewer Authority Board, Orange County School Board, and the Chapel Hill Hillsborough City Schools Board. We thank all of you for the great service you provide our community. Thank you. And at this time, I would also like to ask my board, the Chapel Hill Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, to please stand and be recognized. Thank you very much. Why are we here? We're here to learn about the latest data and economic trends in Orange County. Most people in this room would probably agree that we have much to be thankful for in our community. We have a world-renowned university. We have two of the best public school districts in the state. We have a combination of small and mid-sized towns, as well as a rural component. We are part of the Research Triangle region, which continues to receive recognition as one of the best places to work and live and raise a family in the nation. All this good news draws people to want to move to our community. Our challenge is to manage this phenomenon, to manage this growth wisely. This year's event is particularly timely due to the fact that each major entity within Orange County is undergoing varying degrees of long-range planning. Orange County government, HOCC, Hillsborough, the university, and Chapel Hill are all in the midst of significant long-range or comprehensive planning exercises. In fact, tonight, 7 o'clock, Town Hall, the comprehensive planning work group is conducting a forum, and we would encourage all who have an interest in comprehensive planning in Chapel Hill to attend tonight at Town Hall. We are hopeful that the outcome of today is that all of us will take the information that we learn about and use it constructively in our work, in our policy making, and how we live our lives. I can tell you, coming out of our fall retreat, that the Chamber's Board of Directors is excited about this unique opportunity to be part of what can be the single most comprehensive community-wide planning effort in Orange County's history. We stand ready to work with others, to be active players in constructive dialogue, sharing the perspective from organizations that employ the workers and businesses that pay the taxes to fund the variety of programs and projects we want to have in our community to make it a better place. Frankly, it's very tempting to take advantage of this microphone right now and promote a few items that the Chapel Hill Hillsborough Chamber would like to see in these major plans. But to your good fortune, we are committed to present the state of the economy. and we have limited time to do so. So on with the program. The Economic Development Commission was established by the Orange County Commission and has been the presenter of previous State of the Economy breakfasts. And so at this time, I'd like to recognize and introduce to you the chairman of the Economic Development Commission for a few comments and further introductions. This gentleman is a longtime Orange County resident, a longtime volunteer in many community efforts, including United Way, Hillsborough Hog Day, Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce work, Chapel Carver Chambers work, and much, much more. He's a businessman and consultant, and as much as he gets done on the front line, he also works quietly behind the scenes to make good things happen for Orange County. Please join me in welcoming the chairman of the Orange County Economic Development Commission, my good friend, Jim Gibson. Good luck.
Thanks, Scott. And thank you, Scott, for your leadership. I think that the Chapel Hill Carver Chamber of Commerce is very fortunate to have a leader who is not only a leader here, but a leader in the Triangle. Thank you folks for coming too. Joel tells me that we have an SRO crowd, and it's nice to see this many of you out to hear what we're going to say, and what I'm going to say is going to be very brief. Last summer, in the absence of an Economic Development Commission director, it was suggested that the Chapel Hill Scarborough and Hillsborough Orange County Chambers of Commerce present this meeting. And so today, as Scott has said, there's a cooperative effort from both chambers with the help of their staff. And from our EDC anchor person, there's three people deserve to be singled out this morning. First is Margaret Cannell, who's providing continuity at the EDC in a superb manner. She's been doing a lot of jobs. Secondly, Craig Lloyd, for his efforts from the Hillsborough Orange County Chamber of Commerce. And finally, Joel Harper, whose 6 years of leadership have succeeded in strengthening the Chapel Hill Chamber of Commerce immensely. Now, to lead us into the meat of this meeting, I want to call out Joel Harper. Where are you, Joel? Before he starts, I must tell you, he hasn't been feeling so well, but he's at it and onto it.
All week long, people have asked me, what's it like to follow Ted Abernathy doing this presentation? All I can think of is Lloyd Benson's snap to Dan Quayle 10 years ago, "You're no John Kennedy." Our format this morning will follow the same of previous years, a statistical presentation of economic trends in Orange County. Jim Dooley and Craig Lloyd from the Orange County Hillsborough Chamber of Commerce will follow my remarks with a summary of what you hear today and look at some economic activity going on in the Hillsborough area. You have your booklets in front of you. Sometimes the slides go by quickly and the fine print is hard to see. You may want to take notes as well. Feel free to page through those along with the presentation. I'm going to give you my remarks from this podium, and if that blocks views on this side, feel free to adjust your chairs anywhere you sit. Feel free to adjust where you're seating. With that, we will begin. Sean, if you'll hit the lights, we'll begin with two general views of the Triangle. Los Angeles is, of course, the most populated metro area in the United States, followed by New York. The Raleigh-Durham-Chapel Hill metro area is the 57th largest populated area in the country, with a population of 1,025,000. This is an increase of 27,500 people from the year before. Over the past 25 years, the strongest economic metro areas in the country are scattered throughout the country, with Raleigh-Durham-Chapel Hill having the strongest economy in the country the last 25 years. Charlotte ranks 35th over the same time period, and the Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Piedmont Triad area ranks 80th. Let's turn our attention now to building vacancy rates in Orange County. Commercial vacancy rates in Orange County are well below the triangle average. There's Orange County right there. And are 1% lower than a year ago. Chapel Hill and Carborough's vacancy rates are about 2 percentage points down from a year ago, and Hillsborough is roughly the same. We attribute Orange County's low vacancy rates to the desirability of this county as a place to locate a business and the shortage of commercial space of all types, retail, office, and warehouse. When demand exceeds supply, you'll find low vacancy rates and higher rents. Office vacancy rates. Vacancy rates specific to office space have declined in the triangle this past year. This increase in Hillsborough is due to new office space that George Horton opened up in the Meadowlands that came on the market just as these statistics were being compiled. Vacancy rate specific to retail space is similar to office space. Most of our retail space throughout the county is full. Typically, when retail space opens up, it fills up very quickly. The good work of James Harris, the town of Carrboro, and others in filling up Carrboro Plaza contributes to a better showing in Chapel Hill Carrboro this year compared to last year. Vacancy rate specific to manufacturing and warehousing spiked significantly in Orange County during the third quarter of '98, entirely due to vacancies in Mebane. The rest of Orange County really has no manufacturing or warehouse space available. Flex space. What is flex space? Flex space is a mixed use of office and open space. Flex buildings from the exterior, as you drive by them, look like a real nice office building. If you go inside, you'll typically find 1 or 2 offices up front and open space in the back, which could be used for distribution, warehousing, or light assembly. Oftentimes, a loading dock is in the back of the building, hidden from public view. The post office on Estes Drive is a close example of flex space. Orange County offers practically no flex space. In fact, the only flex space we have available to the public sector, to the private sector, is available in Hillsborough. In 1997, commercial projects totaling over 4.17 million square feet were underway in the triangle, and Orange County's percentage of that was 2.4. This past year, we had 3.3% of 4.25 million square feet of commercial projects in construction in the triangle. In dollar amounts, Chapel Hill has over 3 times residential growth to non-residential growth. Durham has a higher valuation of non-residential to residential construction, and you can see Raleigh, which is the gray bar, has been about equal. Now let's examine retail sales. Orange County retail sales grew by $35 million last year. Should that trend continue this year, we should break $1 billion in retail sales by July of 1999, which is the end of the fiscal year. '98 was a strong economic year for our country, and I would hope to see that reflected in retail sales trends in Orange County. This year, the state retail sales increased 4.2%, and Orange County's retail sales increased 0.6 of a percentage point higher than that. Durham and Wake counties had very strong retail sales growth this past year. This chart shows a 3-year comparison of retail sales by month for Orange County, and that red line that looks like barbed wire represents our last fiscal year. We first note that the typical Christmas build-up shopping season holds true for our community. We folks in the chamber business like to see smooth, steady lines that kind of increase to the right as you go. That represents confident, steady shopping by consumers and predictable cash flow. The January-February drop holds typical, and we're very pleased to see that this last year resale sales rebounded sharply. And in fact, in May of '98, retail sales were as strong as they were during the peak Christmas month, which is wonderful news for a retail community because it means that no one is dependent on only one season of shopping for a majority of their revenue. We see that over 60% of Orange County's retail sales are generated in Chapel Hill, with the rest evenly distributed throughout the rest of the county. These percentage amounts are the same as they were last year. This chart is probably one of the most disturbing to your local Chamber of Commerce. It compares per capita spending, retail spending, against the state average. It says that for every dollar that the average citizen of North Carolina spends on retail sales, Orange County receives only 56 cents from its citizens. Durham County captures 94 cents of every dollar spent on average. And you can see that Wake County gets 18 cents more than the state average. This significant outmigration of Orange County citizens to shop elsewhere does not imply that Orange County citizens aren't shopping local. In fact, I find that the opposite is true. As a whole, on the aggregate, Orange County retail community is very well supported. What I imply from this chart is that Orange County citizens want products, and perhaps they want them in types of stores that are available in our community. This lack of a large mall, this lack of a big box, the lack of that contributes to that ambiance and that village atmosphere that we all hold so near and dear in southern Orange County. But the flip side of that is that we see major retail being built on our borders. New Hope Commons and the growth at I-40 and 54 are examples. The efforts of Chapel Hill Town Council to talk with University Mall owners as they prepare to renovate is a good step towards addressing this discrepancy. The efforts of Durham City Manager Lamont Ewell to cite South Point Mall is a colossal step to address that deficiency. Now we'll look at tax base and development activity. Orange County land has an assessed value of $6.62 billion, a real growth of 5.2% over last year, as last year was not a reevaluation year. This $6.62 billion tax base is 85.9% residential and 14.1% non-residential, which are the same percentages as last year. To give you a comparison, Durham County would be 60.1% residential and 39.9% non-residential. 44% of all of Orange County's non-residential tax base is located in Hillsborough. Chapel Hill's percentage at 20% is exceptionally small when you consider that Carborough has a third of Chapel Hill's population, but roughly the same percentage of commercial non-residential tax base, and Hillsborough's population is about 1/10. Of course, Chapel Hill probably has 25 or more times the amount of non-taxable land as do the other communities. Growth in residential building value, represented by that top purple line, shows an increase after a 2-year decline. Non-residential building values, while relatively flat the last 12 years, dipped slightly in the last year. Orange County sees $20 million of non-residential growth each year. Our residential growth spiked significantly during the first part of this decade, but pretty much the last 4 or 5 years has held constant between $100 and $120 million annually. Here we see that same information listed in dollar amounts. Notice that non-residential construction in 1997 was practically the same levels as 1991 and 92, which were slightly recession years. 908 new residential permits were issued in Orange County in 97, which is the latest data we had available, which was an increase of 190 permits from the year before, which followed a 2-year decline. Of these 908 residential permits, 721, which is your top line, were for single-family homes, and 187 were for multifamily housing. With the exception of 1995, single-family permits in Orange County have been holding right at 700 each year since 1992. These next two charts show how deceiving statistics can be. From this chart, we'll assume an even distribution of single-family permits in the cities. You'll see that Chapel Hill and Carrboro have about 50% of the single-family permits, and you'll see that the rest of the county has the other half. So you'll assume an even distribution of single-family growth throughout the county. But if you look at the same information by township, and you realize that townships are bigger than city boundaries, you'll see that the trend is to build new single-family homes in the Chapel Hill Township, in and probably even more so outside city limits, but within striking distance of the university, and I'll assume the Chapel Hill Carrboro City School System. We'll flip off of townships and back to cities again, and I don't think we'd be surprised at all to discover that Cary leads the way in residential growth permits with over 1,550 residential permits in 1997. Holly Springs population increased by over 400% this past decade, which is easy to do when your population is small to begin with. You'll notice that the top 6 cities on this chart are all located in Wake County. You think that we have school crowding problems, and we do. Think of what Wake County is facing. In percentage terms, Carrboro's population increase this decade has been about double in percentage terms of Chapel Hill's, with Hillsborough at 20% right in the middle. In hard numbers, the county's population increased this decade by 13,000 people. Chapel Hill's population has increased roughly by 5,000, Carrboro by 3,000 people, and Hillsborough by 600. Again, Chapel Hill's growth rate of 13% over this decade, or approximately 2% annually, is not excessively high. In fact, I consider that quite normal and quite ordinary. And here you'll see that at the county, Chapel Hill's growth rate this decade is only ahead of Durham County in percentage terms. Racial growth of Hispanics will far surpass any ethnic group in the next 20 years here in the Triangle, but again, that would be easy to do when your real numbers are very low to begin with. Orange County is a very affluent county. The very first slide on vacancy rates, I suggested that this is a very desirous place for businesses to come to.